Let me just make sure everything works. Yeah, I probably should get this set up first. Oh! That's not good. Stay. Camera fell. This is going great. Eh. Here. No. Here. Here? Okay, come on. Take time. This is so janky. Maybe that'll hold. Well, that'll do for now. Commands, let's go. Hey, Fidel. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? We're working on a short story right now. Got a few pages in it. I suppose I can read it aloud first. It's currently on its 5th page, but we're kind of... You can hear me loud and clear. Good. Music's good too, hopefully. I hope I got it sorted out this time. Of Sakura and Snow. It was a long journey for the knight and the priestess. Far longer than the priestess would have liked. Then again, it wasn't often that the fox demi-human got outside. The fox priestess didn't get out much. It was only at the behest of this mysterious knight that she had even considered her leaving her post as the head and only shrine maiden of her town. Even then, there were many mixed feelings about the journey as the two journeyed through the eastern snow. There's so many repeating words. But perhaps she would find the one she was looking for. That much she was certain of. She'd spent too long of her young life in one place to leave things so stagnant and unfinished. knight, Drake, who was rather quiet for most of the journey. Perhaps he just wasn't used to traveling with a partner. Not that it bothered the young fox priestess all that much. Well, just a bit. Phalanx blinked warily as more snow got into her eyes. Let me get some light. Not blinding amounts, but... How much further? Phalanx asked, still annoyed by how many thorns and broken tree branches were getting caught up in her robes. Not that much further, the solemn knight replied. You said that the past hour, and the hour before that. The knight crossed over a stream. It hasn't been that long. There was a sound of tripping, and the knight turned back to see the priestess sitting in the flowing water, robes and garments dripping. His sweat dropped. He had forgotten to mention the stream. The fox priestess was blind, after all. She looked at him, or at least in his general direction, and gave a rather upset stare, pouting her cheeks. Ooh, okay. On the other hand, maybe we just camp up there. Get yourself dried off. Lead the way, Phalanx said dejectedly, waving her arm in the air with tangible sarcasm, before picking herself up and following. The knight gave a sigh. Were all the young adventurers so irritable and impatient? True, he was young enough to have forgotten his old age, but perhaps his time had long since passed. He did a bit more reflecting. No, it most certainly had. You coming or what? Phalanx asked. She couldn't get too far ahead. Drake was her lead. She could sense some things, hear others, but she had been too lost in her thoughts to notice the smell of fresh water and the sound of the flowing stream. Yet, she was still too embarrassed to mention it. Coming, young one. Drake sighed and walked over, making sure that the teal-blue tassel was hanging over his shoulder. Phalanx gave a smug grin and followed. You're not being entirely truthful to me, or yourself, you know, the knight spoke. You should have noticed that stream. Phalanx's smile faded. Yeah, well, I was thinking. Such thoughts can cost you your life on the battlefield, the knight chided. But I'm a priestess. I'm not a knight like you. Yet you will have to defend yourself one day. You seek vengeance, do you not? Surely the opponent will not go down just by words. Phalanx grimaced. He had a point. Yet she had never picked up a blade. In fact, she didn't even think she could leave the village, ever. Here she was now, exploring. Yet even here, she required someone else's help. Let's take this off. Let me do some stream things. Oop, I need that. Oof. Hanzo. I'll get back to the story reading in just a little bit. There's a few pages. I wish I had a second camera so I could, like, position the pages that I finished down on the table here, like, in this area. And then you can actually read it while I'm, like, working on the current page. Yeah, we don't have everything, though. I'm glad you're around, though, Fidel. Share the stream with a few other places. okay. Just sharing with friends that, you know, stories are being written. That doesn't mean you haven't grown, though, Drake brought up. Ooh, sorry, where was I? Felix grimaced. He had a point. As to the she should have noticed the rip apart. Yet, she had never picked up a blade. In fact, she didn't even think she could leave the village, ever. Yet here she was, exploring. But even here, she required someone else's help. It's a very rough draft, so I have to correct some of the words. That doesn't mean you haven't grown, though, Drake brought up. You have managed to leave the village and begin seeing the outside world. That much is an accomplishment that not many of the generation can attest to. Too coiled up in the comforts of their modern age. Felix turned around with a smug smile once more. Wow, you really do sound like an old geezer. Drake sighed, knowing that it was true. Felix was quick. Well, you're not that old, I think, Felix quickly corrected, not wanting to hurt her mentor's feelings too much. And, thanks. Drake smiled, and as he found a clearing the duo could settle down in for the night. There may be hope for your generation saving this world after all. Some time passed, and... forgot something. Where are we? Slow net. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. This should all record, hopefully. And I should be able to upload this onto the YouTubes. And I can send this to you. I'll also probably try to take photos of these and so I can send them to you. So don't worry about it for now. Some time had passed and Drake had set up camp, while Phalanx tended to the fire in the blazing blizzard. Heavy blizzard, I guess? In the heavy blizzard. Even with conditions this bad, she was able to tend to the fire, and have it not only survive, but thrive in the adverse conditions. Those who worshipped the goddess of the hearth were truly something. Drake finished setting up camp and even brought some of the rations outside. Even though we come across a cave every now and then, you refuse to start a fire inside, Drake inquired. How come? It is tradition to hold the fire and flames outside, where the goddess of the hearth can see it from her spot in the stars. The sun, Drake noted. That and the people of our village are vigilant in holding them outside. That part is more unique to us, though. I'm not sure why. Drake had seen some of the older buildings in the village charred, but ignored bringing it up. It wasn't the best to bring up old tragedies for a young adventurer like her. Maybe later, when she grew up, a bit more, but not now. So, what's for dinner? Phalanx asked, her ears wiggling up and down in excitement. If she had a tail, she would certainly be wagging that too. We have some bread, butter, and boar, Drake counted off, dropping the sack on the ground as he erected a pot over the fire, and began boiling some of the snow to make drinking water. Phalanx made her way back to the sack, sniffing greedily, before she tried plunging a hand to grab a fistful of the meat. But the satchel was tied up with yet a different knot this time. We have to cook it first, Drake replied. At least his knowledge of tying rope was starting to come in handy against the more cunning fox. And remember, they're rations for the entire journey, not a buffet. The fox priestess gave it the ejected sigh before whimpering and hopping onto the snow beside the pot. Instead, she filled her canteen with the ladle, making sure to sprinkle in some dried leaves and herbs she collected along the way to make a crude yet comforting tea. The knight did the same, drinking and gulping. You say to be conservative of our food, yet you drink so greedily, Phalanx chided, flipping the tables on her mentor. Because the snow around us is readily available, and I have you to depend on for fire and warmth. Phalanx pouted, still indignant as to not having her food ready yet. Demi-humans could eat for things fine raw, but she had to follow human customs as they were his supplies. They are limited. The young fox priestess pouted and rolled around in the snow a bit more in her tantrum, and the knight sighed. Come, take off your robe, it's still wet and you're going to develop a cold. And what am I going to wear then? The priestess shot back. I have a spare set of armor. Absolutely not. Phalanx quickly turned down. The two of them sat there and stared at each other for a few minutes. Give me that, Phalanx exclaimed, finally caving in and snatching the spare set of armor. And keep your head turned around. Sure, sure, the knight waved his hand, smiling, returning his attention to the pot and the cooking at hand. Yeah, sure, whatever. The young fox blew a bit of a tantrum as she took her robe off and threw it in the direction of Drake, before donning on the armor. The metal was pleasantly coated inside with thick wool. There were even light blue tags and marks around the edges defining the features of the suit. As she looked down and stretched out her hand in the gauntlet, she could see the rough outline of her 5 fingers for the first time in a while. It was all against the dark background, but still, she could see herself, her body. Drake, dinner's ready, kiddo. The knight lumbered towards her in the snow and plopped the bowl of hot beef stew in her lap. The wooden bowl had the same light coating had a light coating. Can't speak. Had a light coating. Let's see. Her wooden bowl had a light coating of the same blue ink of the armor. She couldn't see what was inside it, but sniffed and perked her ears up. Beef stew with potatoes and carrots and a pinch of green onion? With your secret ingredient of special seasoning? Her eyes widened as she looked in a general direction, or at least the blue tassels, at least. I thought you said we didn't have enough to afford anything else beyond this. I thought you said we didn't have enough to afford anything else beyond basic provisions. Why something this fancy? It's nothing special, priestess. Drake sat down with a heavy grunt, his armor creaking and lumbering. I just felt bad since you had a bad day. Ah, so someone's finally holding out. So someone's holding out, eh? Phalanx smirked and chided, but her expression soon turned into one of a warmer, gentler smile. But thanks for taking me along and putting up with me, and... She covered her eyes with her hands, still marveling at seeing her fingers come closer to her for the first time in ages. My condition. Drake scoffed. Phalanx, you should never be ashamed of who you are. It can be tough, I know, but there are people willing to accept you for who you are. And thanks, too. It's been a while since I've had someone to talk to. Drake glanced at the fox priestess again, who had already devoured her warm meal and was sleeping peacefully in the snow. She sighed. He sighed. Such were the nature of children, forever hyperactive and sleeping in on life lessons. He gave a warm smile, though. Even he, the immortal knight, knew at least some thoughts and memories that had to be preserved. All these centuries, and she's the one I'm bonded by fate to. Odd. But I hope one day she can accept who she hates the most as I have for her. With that final thought, the knight carried the sleeping fox priestess back into the white and gold inbred tent, and lay her on a cushion while he stood watch on for the night beside the lonesome yet friendly fire. The duo finished traveling through the winter woods that was Phalanx's home region, and they kept traveling until the winter turned into spring, and they moved from the land of perpetual snowfall. And they moved from a land of perpetual snowfall and falling Sakura. And they moved from a land of perpetual snowfall and falling Sakura petals to a land where all the trees and vegetation grew to the strongest that they could, and the color green pervaded throughout. If only I knew what green looked like, maybe I wouldn't hate it hated blocking my view so much, Phalanx mumbled grumpily under her breath. She could see bits of the sky under clouds and a few light and clear streams, but they were never the right kind of blue. They weren't her blue. At least we're not freezing anymore, Drake said as they continued on, or sweltering. They had stripped the wool off the armor. Well, Phalanx's at least. As cute as the fox's ears were, she had never heard Drake strip his armor. In fact, she'd never seen him take off his armor, or even bothered by the terrain. Whether rocky or muddy, by the weather, like snow or rain, or by temperature. Phalanx's ears perked up at the sound of a moving and rolling cart. Ah, a band of the Vestal's flame, travelers of the Oracle that do all they can to spread the warmth of her goddess. He didn't trust anyone, no matter what side. They're pacifists. He quickly... He glanced at Phalanx, who was ready to draw her blade. It appeared she didn't trust anyone, no matter what side. They're pacifists, he quickly added before hailing the cart. Why are you getting their attention? Phalanx quipped. Flames. I'm a wanderer. May I look upon thy goods for travel? Kenji! Hello, ninja! Welcome! We're just reading some stories right now. I think we're just about to get to the part about Vestus and his little merchant band. And then we're gonna be writing, basically, on this typewriter. Yeah. So, I don't think you've missed too much yet. Well, there were 3 pages before this, but basically we're following the adventures of Phalanx, a fox priestess, and Drake, a human knight. And right now they just managed to get past sort of the whatchamacallit. They managed to get past like the Sakura area with all the snow and stuff. And now they're moving on to sort of like this lush forest area. It is actually the land of the elves. Why are you getting their attention? Phalanx quipped. Flames. By the flames, I am a wanderer. May I look upon thy goods for travel? The cart ground to a stop and a figure hopped out. Phalanx could tell that the figure had blue eyes, a bit darker than the ones she was looking for, though. Drake made a puzzled sound as the figure flipped their robe. Had something else caught him off guard. Name's Vestus, or Vestia, whichever one's fine. The leader of the wagon spoke. There were some hushed voices as the other robed figures in white murmured disappointingly about something. Don't worry about the strict higher-ups behind me. I'm the one in charge of the convoy and trading stuffs today. So, what do you need? Drake blinked a few times. Yeah, just some traveling goods and rations, if you have any to spare. And we got some wool and warmth goods to trade in exchange. He shook his head before glancing about the figure again. They had a feminine voice, yet something didn't look fully right to him. Not to mention that this was the first time he had seen an elf with cat ears and a tail, with clan markings and orange fur to boot. So if you can't tell already, this is actually Topaz's sibling. This is the first time that, well, I wanted to get him at least somewhere in the story, so I'm going to throw him into this little, whatchamacallit, I guess, like, short story, I guess? So we are currently at their encounter, and I am starting a new page because I do not want to find the lining on this page, which I think I typed this with Monty and Grant. I don't know if it was Monty or Grant or Goro, and I didn't label it, so that kind of sucks. And my formatting was all off. Though no, yeah, it's definitely a Monty and Grant because the font is different. Goro's is more curvy, I guess. If I can show you, like, the font here is much more. Of course, I try to hold paper up to a fan. I have fan that is serving as the support for my camera, and I'm trying to hold paper up to it. Oh, this is tough. You see how the 4 here is like very sort of strict. It's a very sort of businessy kind of feel. It's very formal, I guess, like Times New Roman style, I suppose. And then once I let me get some words typed on this page before I take it out. But or fuck it. Here, I'll take it out. And then here, with how Goro types, the font is much more curvy. Oh, Tyler Tan says hi. Hello! Let Tyler I said hi. He's watching too. Oh no! Everyone's... I feel peer pressure now. Oh no, okay. I'll try to do my best. But yeah, you see like the comparison 4 to 4, it's much more curvy, right? Focus camera? Yeah, so it's a bit more like stylish, I guess. Yeah. The paper didn't feed all that well. So if you ever want to figure out how to write it, figure out how to work a typewriter well, the first thing you got to do is feed the paper in, right? And then you just turn the knobs here, and that just moves paper in and out. And then you also got to make sure that you're on the same line as before, which I think I actually am. Maybe. So typically you would, this is called a platen, and you'd sort of smooth this up and down. There's also a fine adjust knob that you just sort of, it's on this side, but you would sort of push it in. You would push it in, and then you can sort of adjust this independently from everything else. Okay, yeah, I pretty much got it. Pretty close. Huh, that actually lined up pretty well. I guess now we can write. Actually, let me go, BRB, I need to run to the restroom. I drink too much water. Give me a bit. Okay, now I'm back. Just realized you guys couldn't hear me at all. Wait, why am I... This is a mouse. This is not my keyboard. I don't... I don't... This is my keyboard. This is my typewriter. And this is my mouse. This is my alternate key. Yeah, I don't... This weighs about, half a pound. This weighs about 20. Oh god. What is my desk pad? It is just... Okay, I'm not looking up the entire typewriter for this. Alright, fine. It's just, like, some generic, anime cyberpunk style kind of stuff. I picked it up at a local, collection, not really collection, it's a board game shop, really. It's meant to be like a gamepad, like, you know, for your miniatures and stuff. Kind of. I'll send you a picture later. It's like, it's actually more like Mashu from Fate. Let me, hold on. Thanks. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that's 2 lines down. I've actually credited Goro this time, thank god. Then we're at the part where we just met Festus, Topaz's brother. Yeah, we're looking for traveling goods. Let's say to say that the Neko hybrid looked odd would be an understatement. What else? But he seemed friendly enough. Or perhaps they. And he knew what they liked. What the what do I call it? He knew what the apostles of Vestal's Flame liked. I misspelled that. From his camping bag, he took out, not a lantern, well, perhaps a lantern of sorts. He took out, what do I call it? He took out something that carries fire, right? What do you call that? Not the Olympic torch, but what do you, from his camping bag. One of the warming lanterns, I guess? A warming lantern. Well, like, it's more... Okay, so in this world, right, there are those who worship the goddess of technology, Proteus, and there are those who worship the goddess of the flame, or basically, i.e. the sun, Sol. The demi-humans worship the goddess of the sun, and the humans worship the goddess of technology. So, in a way, these sort of lanterns, or vessels, I suppose, carry with them a portion of the goddess's warmth. basically they carry fire. They can be meant they're meant to both it's more the content inside that matters. Like it's sort of like a holy flame, if you will. It's kind of like how there's water and holy water. In this world, it's fire and holy fire, basically. It doesn't really go out. Yeah, it's a fancy lantern, I guess you could call that. A warming lantern. You took out a. Yeah, let me. Holy lantern. There, we can make it look. Yeah, basically. It's actually going to be the same lantern that Hanako carries with her. Well, same type. Each lantern carries with it a bit of Soul's power, or the goddess of the sun's power. And that was one of the gifts that she gave to Hanako. Okay, look, it's not loot. We don't. Okay, look, just because Krim is in the story doesn't mean that everything is loot. Okay, that's not how this works. Yeah, I'll call it a holy lantern. At least for now. Are you whining, son? Nice, 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 username. Am I whining? I'm not really whining, but your sister here is making things lewd, and that's not very, family stream friendly, you know? Holy Lantern. Such artifacts were valued as they carried a portion of the goddess of the sun's power. Which took form of a flame that would never go out. Of course, Drake knew that. Of course, Drake knew of its importance, but it would also help quite a lot in. Oh yeah, ASMR. You like this? One of the typewriting sounds I actually really like about this typewriter. I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but it's got this sliding cover door. I don't think the mic's picking it up. Can you guys hear it? A bit closer. It's just so smooth, honestly. The Smith Corona 6 series are, like, honestly world-renowned for having the, That's my face. Oops. They're world-renowned for having that, very sexy, very sophisticated ribbon-covered door. Honestly, one of the sounds that is pretty unique to the machine. And I'll never get... Well, it'll never get old for me. Wait, what was the sentence that I just said? Fuck. Crap, what did I just say? Drake knew of its importance, of course. Drake knew of its importance, of course. But having a never-extinguishing flame also made the journey through the treacherous cold much easier. How do you spell treacherous? T E T-E-A-C-H-O-R-O-S-O-U-S? Um... that'll have to do. Uh, Drake knew of its importance, of course, but having a never-extinguishing flame made the journey through the treacherous cold just a bit easier. As soon as he took it out of the bag, the leader of the convoy's ears suddenly perked up. Both sets, actually. And Drake smirked from behind the item as he knew he had just landed a bargain from the leader. Now Vestas. What do you call it? It's difficult having to say this out loud first. Let me just write a line and then maybe I'll read it out loud? But then I can't really think about it either. You have a portion of the holy flame. You have a portion of the holy flame? Vestas remarked, blinking in great surprise. What do you want from it? Please, pick anything from our carts. What's a good name for a side character? Oh, it's better the paint is scratched. What happened? Yeah, no, don't worry. The machine's over 50 years old at this point, so the fact that it's still in its original color and not completely rusted is quite the quite the remark. It's just I think that scratch might have come around since I got it, or maybe some bubbling under the paint. It's not anything major. This thing is older than all of us right now, and it still works quite well. So I can't really complain. Like I might put a sticker over it. That might help. Like a little band-aid, I guess. Right. Oh, sorry. The story. You have a portion of the holy flame, Festus remarked, blinking in great surprise. What do you want from it? Please, pick anything from our cart. Hold on, Vestus. We can't just go around on. We just can't go. You can't just go around with that level of authority. We don't know even. We don't even know if it's genuine. One of the other robed figures asked. Felix spoke in hushed whispers. I thought it was just a normal lantern. Drake shook his head. He had these for a reason. I know a true flame when I see one. Vestus shot back. Why else would the Oracle, what do you call it? Why else would the Oracle appoint me as leader of this convoy? The figure in white, the figure in white, cursed. Uh, the figure in white cursed something under their breath in Kion tongue before helping another one lift off the tarp that covered the wagon, revealing an assortment of goods lined up against a wooden display. For the Holy Flame, you can pick anything from the cart. Oh, sorry. Yeah. For the Holy Flame, you can pick anything from the cart. And for the wool and comforts, we'll give you a week's worth of rations. That should take you to the nearest city, the Elven capital. Festus blinked affably and proudly. How's that for business? we'll take you up on the offer. We'll take you up on the offer for um. We'll take you up on the offer for the choice. However, we'd like 3 days worth of rations, and 4 gold shillings. I'm making currency up on my head. What did I just say? This isn't. I should just write it down first. We'll take up your offer on your choice. However, instead of a week's worth of rations, we just need 3 days. And 4 gold shillings, if that's okay with you. Trade countered, but kept up his kind demeanor. But they have meat. Proper, finely cooked meat. Phalanx begged. And we need to find an inn to stay at once we arrive at the capital. Plus, we still have some rations with us still. Shillings. I don't know what shillings are. I was just trying to come up with like a unit of currency. Gold shillings, maybe? They're not supposed to be worth all that much. Or maybe silver shillings? I don't know. My head hurts. Oh, more people joined. Hello! We're just writing stories right now. What time is it? Probably got another, like, little bit. We're just writing stories right now with a typewriter. So far we are following the journey of Drake, the Immortal Knight, and Phalanx, the Fox Priestess. Oh no. What did that do? Okay. Can I just broke chat. How do I get chat back? Fuck. I don't, Fox, view maybe? Okay, give me a sec. Turn off the video camera so I can actually... Give me a sec. Yeah. Sorry guys, just stay with me. Chat. Ha. Found it. It's very, okay, look here, Tyler. Look here, Tyler Tan. There's a reason I had to put my mouse pad away, okay? I am being as say-so as I can, but, you know, sometimes frustrations happen, and you have to deal with it. and even maybe swear sometimes. I would rather be say-so and swearing rather than not say-so, okay? There are things that will get you banned on this platform, and things that will not. Fair enough, go on. Oh, yeah, so the story, of course. I'd rather be say-so. So the story itself, we're following the journey of a fox priestess. Um, of the fox priestess Phalanx and the immortal knight, human knight Drake. It's kind of a weird pair since the human knight is, you know, a knight and also human in a modern world, traveling. And the fox priestess herself is, if you haven't figured it out from the cues yet, she's blind. But she can still see a little bit in the spectrum of blue, which is why Drake wears these blue teal tassels on his armor so that she can see her, so she can see him. And why her armor also carries some like blue outlines so that she can see her hands and also, you know, just what's going on. It's why she's able to see a little bit of the sky and of the rivers, but she's not able to see much else beyond that. So when she's in the forest, she can barely see the sky because it's covered up by the green canopy, and that's what frustrates her. So she's able to perceive the color blue, but only in minor amounts. And it gets better as it comes to a very specific type of blue that happens to match her eyes. So there's a little bit of mythology and history behind her condition. She's also a little the society in this story also dislike her because she isn't fully human or fully Keon, or basically, you know, when I say Keon, I mean like Neko, right? The people are upset because she's a hybrid, so she has the fluffy ears of the Keon race. Yeah, that's a keyboard. Yeah, I was joking with the others earlier, that like because my keyboard normally go here, but this is my other keyboard, and my mouse, like I yeah, Tyler, I can't do anything with this setup right now because mouse and like keyboard that's not connected to anything. Like I can't game on this, okay? This is for writing. This is for gaming. But I have to have this underneath here so I can actually, like, you know, use the controls and everything. So yeah, that's a keyboard. But, you know, I can't put this under the table, you see? It would crush my legs. If that makes sense. But yeah, they're just exploring the world right now, and they're trying to find their destination, which is kind of just right now currently quite aimless. Where did I save? Ah, shucks. Where did I save the rest of the story? Ah, bugger. Where did I put it? The story about how they first met. Note to self. Hold on. Just add it. uh... Yeah, so we're basically here now. Yeah. Sorry, let me finish this page and then I can get back to answering questions. How much of the page is left? I haven't been able to figure out how to use the page gauge yet, so. Yeah, page gauge is actually it's this little reader up on this side. It's on this. It's little like a set of numbers here. I'd show it with the camera because but it's currently taped to my fan and it's liable to fall off. So I don't want to touch that. But um, the page gauge here is meant to sort of let you know how many. Yeah, it's taped. I can't put it on the desk because if you haven't seen it, like the lamp and stuff are moving very wildly because of my setup. This thing causes vibrations on the entire desk, okay? But yeah, the page gauge basically tells you how many pages are how much of the page you have left. It's there's a way you're supposed to set it up, but I haven't figured it out yet. Basically. And I'm out of and now I'm out of page. So here's a freshly minted page that we just made with everything about the story on it. I'll upload the VOD to my YouTube channel later, and I just lost face tracking, lovely. But yeah. Oh hey Servo, nice for you to join us. Oh, thank you for following as well. Hello. I got my drink too much water. So yeah, this is a freshly minted typewritten page of the story that we've been writing. Yeah, hello. So most of the people here right now are my friends from my Discord server, just sort of my little friend group. And Servo is someone that I met in VR chat. So he does a lot of cool stuff. I don't want to like dox you on stream or anything, but he does a lot of cool like stuffs and we were talking about, you know, our hobbies and stuff earlier, so I invited him to the stream. This is currently page 5. I've had the other pages written beforehand a while ago. I didn't date it, so I can't tell when, unfortunately. My formatting's changed a little bit, but basically in the story. Actually, let me. Crap. Okay, yeah, I might just be. It's been like an hour or so, so it might be a good idea to just recap the story. Let me go to the restroom first again. I drink too much water. Drink water is good, but not necessarily caffeine. But yeah, let me run to the restroom, and then I'll sort of reload the story so far. Hydrate or dihydrate? Yes, very true, very true. Alright, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Lovely. So it's been about an hour or so, so I guess we can go ahead and just recap a little bit of the story. Or yeah, so a few people joined us, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. Welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, let's go ahead and read it. Let's start from page. Let's start from page 1. So, where do I start? So this is kind of like a mini story. So for those of you guys who just joined us, welcome. This is sort of a mini story within the bigger story that involves Topaz's world and all that stuff. So my world, basically. And we're just thank you for following, Ninja. Friend. So we're kind of just like exploring some of the minor, some of the more minor characters, and Tyler. Thank you. So we're following the stories of the more minor characters because they each have stories of their own, right? Everyone is the main character in their own story, I guess is the way you could sort of frame it. So the story right now follows a fox priestess and a knight. In a world where humans and demi-humans are at conflict. The humans believe in the goddess of technology, Proteus, while the demi-humans believe in the goddess of the sun, Oracle, I suppose you could call her. And basically there's this war going on because there's been a cataclysmic event in the past and the two sides don't agree with each other's belief systems. So one day during like just everything going on, the human knight Drake visits an old village, pretty much mostly abandoned at this point, where he finds a fox priestess, not necessarily a fully blooded fox priestess, but rather a human, demi-human, hybrid fox priestess. Whereas most demi-humans have both their tails and their ears, hybrids in this world only have their ears. So Phalanx herself is basically frowned upon by most of society. Add to it that she's also blind to most things except for the color blue, and she has a bit of trouble getting around. Yet she still works to maintain her shrine, even though everybody else in the town had left. So the human knight comes in and basically sort of asks her to join him on his adventure to go find and talk with the goddess of the sun herself, because there's some things he needs to get sorted out with her, and for her, she needs to get out basically of this place that she's been staying at for the longest time. She has someone that she wants revenge against, essentially for the death of her parents. And with sort of the knight's help, they both get out and journey the world. They first leave the sort of snow-covered village that they're at, and that's where the story picks up. Now keep in mind that I'm gonna stammer on some of the words because they're typewritten, it's a bit messy, and I also can't revise the words. So unless I leave enough space, like I can double space, for example, but that just eats up the pages, and this is a Word doc, right? This is a Google Doc. I don't have infinite pages or, a document that can go on forever. I have to be a little conservative of the paper that I have. Yeah, paper expensive. Yeah, kind of. It'd be nice to have, like, the specialized typewriter paper that they had in the days, but now we just have printer paper, which still works, but be better. So that's where the story picks up, and I guess I'll just go ahead and reread the pages that we have so far, and then maybe see if we can get a bit more done before calling it a night. For bold words, you just type harder. For bold words, you're kind of just screwed, and for italic words, you have to buy another typewriter. um, you can underline though. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, give me a second. Um, so so how much force you put on the typewriter, right? Here, let me feed it some new paper. Uh, there's there's a saying. Meh. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, right? That saying contains all the letters in the alphabet, and that's one of the things that's used to just make sure that all the well, at least the alphabetical keys on the typewriter work. So the thing about a typewriter is, you have to push down with a certain amount of force because you have to push down with a certain amount of force because your force going down into the key is actually with the force that's causing the, like you can see it up here a little bit. That's causing the slug itself to move up. So the slug will move up. It'll hit an ink ribbon, and that ribbon will transfer the ink onto the page. So it's a very mechanical motion. You're basically throwing force at the ink forms imprint against the page. So when you're hitting the word harder, here let me do this like let me type like sort of the same force that a normal keyboard would type at. And then I'll type out the force that I typically type out with a typewriter. Give me a minute. I have to close my eyes for this because I just can't. This is like going against my ways of typing right now. So in a way, if you can you see it now? In a way, pressing lighter versus pressing harder is really just affecting how well the words show up. Are you a left-hand typer or a right-hand typer? I guess right-hand? Most of the times I hit the space button with my right hand instead of, my left hand with my left thumb. Yeah, so... Christ. This machine is 20 pounds, okay? It weighs a shit ton, but I will... Yeah, so... Here, I'll try this. Alright. Oh, that's the mug. Okay. I don't want to drop this. Alright, so you see in here, right? These are... Ow. These are all the type slugs that have the characters on them. And when I press a key, that is what's causing it to go up and to hit the ink ribbon. And those type slugs, those letters are going to be the same no matter what. If you wanted something different, like for example bold or italics, you would have to basically get a typewriter that has those type slugs. So things like, especially back in the day, things such as changing fonts, for example, required a whole other typewriter. Nowadays, I say nowadays, in the 90s, sort of 80s and 90s, they actually did manage to design typewriters that could incorporate italics and bold. But that was through the use of, like, instead of these type slugs, which are individual and sort of like take up a lot of space, that was accomplished through the use of a daisy wheel. And you could switch that daisy wheel out to get italic type font, or in the case of that machine, it could actually press a bit harder to create the bold letters, because I guess the the slugs were able to flex a little bit. They were plastic instead of metal. So that's why you see a lot of the machines here. They're very like standard, I guess you could call it. Like they're very typical, like machine to machine. They share a lot of the same fonts, and then the ones that are special, quote unquote, the ones that have that italic font, for example, are the special ones because they weren't as common. There's also machines that could write in cursive, that had a cursive type font, which looked very nice. But those are the more rare machines. Those are the ones that sell for maybe $200, $300. This one, Goro, I got him for about $30 from a thrift store. So, yeah, italics didn't really exist back then. Most of the things you typed were like in a more standard legible kind of font, and then if you wanted italics, you could maybe switch it to like a more specialized machine, but most of the time you don't need to type everything in bold, or you don't need to type everything in italics or a certain font. You just need something that works. These are machines that were basically used throughout pretty much most of the 20th century for document keeping. Like most of the things that you see in like World War II documents, stuff like that, those were all typewritten. There was no computer back then that could just print stuff, or like a printer actually. They were all done by typewriters, so every stroke was basically sort of done through that motion. Eventually, like through these events, they actually did manage to incorporate motors, so that the types, so like the letters were a bit more consistent and they weren't sort of dependent on human hand. But that's a story for another day. Did I answer your question, Servo? Yeah, I guess any other typewriter questions? Go whoa whoa whoa. Yeah, go whoa. Yeah, neat. Well, I guess I can pull it out. Give me a second. Crap. Yeah, this is. Alright, let's move Goro aside for just a bit. Yeah, so this machine itself was made in the 60s. So it's well over 50 years old at this point. It is over half a century old, and it's probably gonna outlast all of us. Because they just made things much better back then. Let me switch over, or I guess, real quick. Oh, actually. This is a slightly different machine, but you can sort of see that there is actually an underline key, and that just creates sort of nice underlines. Which I can use to sort of like underline the titles and stuff. There's no delete key, so you just use X's to cross out the wrong words and just put new ones. So like when I was trying to figure out what to call the holy lanterns, I called them warming lanterns at first. Just cross it out, write new ones. You can use like what do you call it, like whiteout and stuff, but it gets kind of crusty in the machine, so I think that's why there's like so much like white particles in Goro. So a lot of people just sort of avoid it and just go ahead with crossing out and just writing it, especially for like typewriter rough drafts. Yeah. Here, let me go ahead and set up Haven just because we're already on this topic. Thank you, Goro, for today. You have helped a lot in today's demonstration. And hopefully I don't get demonetized for opening up Haven, because I put a shit ton of anime stickers on that. So, when I was talking about the 90s machines, This is what I'm talking about. Ah, crap. My pen stuff just fell out. Yeah. I'm alert. Okay, Fidel. Thanks for joining us. Well, I have to plug it in first because now they require electricity. Oh my god. Hi, Fidel. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the cord out. Plug it in to somewhere. Yeah, as the machines got more advanced, they started getting a bit more electric, I suppose you could call it. They started getting a little fancier and nicer. Well, nicer in function, not very nice in terms of quality. Where did that go? Okay. Ah, there we go. So this is a 1980s, 1990s Smith Corona. And besides the absolute number of anime stickers that I've stuck all over it, which you can probably tell, trying to make sure that the anime things don't get me demonetized. It's a bit louder, but the nice thing about these typewriters is that, well, I don't know if you call it nice, but there's a lot of debates in the typewriter community. Thank you. Yeah, so here's the font based on this one, but it's basically much more of a industrial use, I guess you could call it. It was much more like business practical, if you will. Yeah, so at the cost of like quality and also a RAM chip that seems to keep dying. Oh, I have to replace the battery on that. It basically could do things like backspace, for example. It also had an autocorrect and also a dictionary function, so that you could tell when you messed up and could go back and fix it. It could also save files and print files if you needed multiple copies, like a worksheet, for example. And yeah, it was something that a lot of like if you go to your professors and teachers of today, they'll likely have used one of these machines in their childhood to either practice on before computers came around, or to really write their papers with. Yo, who that? Sad boy. Hello. Yo, what's up? Yeah, we're just talking about typewriters right now, actually. You're supposed to be going over the story, but everyone seems to be interested in what typewriters can do. I'd move this closer in for a look. Your Abby is very cute. Thank you. Crap. I have. Oh my god. I don't have enough desk space for this. This is not my keyboard. This isn't my keyboard. My keyboard is all the way over here on my bed. What's in the coffee cup? Water. It's just water. It's literally just water. I'm not drinking caffeine this late at night. It is currently... Where's my clock? Thank God. It is currently 11, like 18 p.m. So yeah, it's not a coffee cup. It's just. I know it says caffeine on it. It's just a nice mug. Yeah, it's. I'll probably have to close it out soon. So sorry that you joined us so late, but I'll try to keep talking. 11 a.m. Wait. Oh right, you live in the opposite side of the world, right? But yeah, we're just going over typewriters and Servo, you still with us? So this is actually, pardon the anime stickers, but this is actually how you sort of, that's the mic. So, okay, this typewriter is a bit more of an, it's a little less, how do I say this? People don't like these typewriters as much in the community just because although they're more advanced, they can do backspace, you can do autocorrect, and they beep at you when you type something wrong, so you can go back and fix it and all that stuff. People don't like these typewriters just because they're a bit more cheaper. Like, they're cheaper in construction, right? This is plastic. This is metal. So this one's lasted for about 50 years, and this one's lasted for about 30, 40 years, and it's already having some trouble with the mechanisms. So people like having a solid, sturdy metal typewriter oftentimes a lot more than an electric one, like a circuits and plastic one. Think of this one more like your vintage computer, for example, right? So if I can get this open, you'll actually see that. Crap. Oh my god. These are your cartridges. So no longer you have ink ribbons, but you have carbon cartridges that you basically punch words into. So these are one-time use, but at the cost of being one-time use, you can actually remove the letters off the page. Crap. How do I take this out? Yeah, you're learning. This is the technology of the 90s. Here itself is the carbon correction tape. So if you actually see here, it literally like punches the letters off the page. So like here, for example, here are the misspelled words that I had on the page, right? And I just punched those off. How do I take the thing out? You do not know how, like, you can probably see it right now, but, like, this mechanism is pretty advanced. Okay, so what year was this? So this one is, like, mid-80s. This one is, like, mid-60s. So, this one is about 30, 40 years old. This one's about 50, 60 years old. Basically older than all of us, pretty much. Alright, see. How do I... Okay, give me a second. I know, right? Like, there's no rust on it than anything. It's literally... Yeah. Fortunately, there were plenty of typewriters being made at the time because they were used for business and all that stuff. No, generally, no, not really. Because, like, back during the business times, right? Basically, during the, like, everything in the 20th century, right? Everything that was like typed was done by typewriter. It was only near the end that people started inventing printers and all that stuff, because we finally had the personal computer. These typewriters are basically used to type every document. They're like meant for everyday use at the business, at the sort of secretary areas. So there's millions of them actually. A lot of the time, it's just in someone's closet or basement from their like parents or grandparents that they just left there, and a lot of times you'll see them donated to like thrift stores just because they're kind of obsolete. But a lot of the times they come in cases, like briefcases for example, or like this one had like a little panel over it that help protect the insides and the mechanisms and all that stuff. Sorry, Suros, to get your question, how do I need to stop this real quick, just give me a sec. Generally, if you're lucky, you can find them at thrift stores or like sort of around on or online. Typically, a good price to go for is about maybe like $20 or $30 for a typewriter. Um, you want to go for something that's like more metal, like a bit older, just because they were built better. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to take out the mechanism here so that I can actually show Servo the hard to find replacements. No, not really. Like the Smith Corona series, like this one right here, like thousands of these were made. So if you need like a replacement part, you can just buy a salvage machine and then just swap it out. It's pretty doable if you just Google it up and yeah, it's not hard to find replacements now. Sorry, sir. Well, give me a second. Uh,
Good morning, Dwayne here, PhoenixTypewriter.com. We're toward the platen. It's off. And there's your ribbon. That's brand new. I had marked that so I don't get them confused. That's brand new. While we're at it, let's show you how to switch the print wheel. You pull this little chrome lever here.
oh. Okay, I'm done. Okay, we got it. Shit.
This is door up, this hatch. And there's your print wheel for all your print styles.
Uh, Replacements are hard to find, but I'd rather not break anything. Just because they don't make these things anymore, and I'd like there to be more of them in the world than not. Christ, here. Fiddlesticks. Okay, so well, what I'm trying to get at right now is actually the print wheel that has the font of this machine on it. The problem is that it's plastic and also very brittle. So I'm trying to be very careful to take it out right now. I'll take a picture of this and send it to you in Discord. Fiddlesticks, I'm trying. um Crap. How did you take it out?
It's got letters on this side. Just got a little chrome lever here. Opens this door.
How did he take it out so easily? Oh. Okay, comes out more. I got it. Oh, that's glue. Okay. Yeah, don't break your time. It's fine. Okay, so the nice thing about the sort of these more modern typewriters, right, is that they had these plastic daisy wheels, and it's very hard to see, but on each sort of appendage is actually the letter mark itself. So what you do is you basically, if you want to type italics or bold, or actually this machine can already do bold with these. But if you wanted to type italics, for example, or maybe like perhaps a font such as the more fun, they had Ye Old English as a font. So basically, like think of like Shakespearean kind of fancy writing. Um, you would basically sort of like you'd be able to swap out like sort of these wheels, right? And it's pretty easy to you swap it in and out to get your different fonts. Yeah, the one that's shorter is just the underline. It's hard to see, but that's just the underline mark. But yeah, how this works? Oh, that's sticky. It's got ink all over it. How this works is basically this would rotate and then it would punch. It's the same thing. It just rotates and the element gets punched in there. Um, does that answer your question, Servo? Here, I'll put this aside for now. Yeah, nothing is even. Christ. Sorry, shouldn't be swearing. Just a bit too much to handle. And then, who here has a Game Boy or one of the old game consoles? Or like they used to own game consoles as a kid, so you had like the game cartridges, right? Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, you used to have you used to have one, and you used to have the DS. So this is a thermal typewriter. It's much smaller. um, but yeah, how these machines actually worked is that instead of loading fonts like because like uh let me where is my thermal paper? Ah, yeah, tiny boy. So these are actually the most smallest of the typewriters actually. So instead of actually printing words, it actually works very much like your receipt machine, where it just has a print head that would actually uh, create heat in the um, it would create heat in the form of the letters that you wanted. So for these ones, in order to change fonts, you actually just had a little retro game cartridge here that could be used to either store data. So like you could plug in like expanded storage, for example, or this one. Eee. You had fun, yeah. It was nice getting to show you guys these things. Sadly they don't really talk about it anymore. But nice to have you around, Servo. Oh, that's my bedtime alarm. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I was supposed to read the story, and then everything else got off track. Yeah. 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 It's just nice to be able to talk about some of these older pieces of technology. Um, I'll go ahead and post the stories so far into my. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, the stream is basically just like wherever it goes, and if people are interested in typewriter more, then I'll talk about that. Just want to keep this conversation at least somewhat natural. Um, so we're kind of just talking about like whatever you guys want to talk about. Um, yeah, I'll probably go ahead and post the stories somewhere. Denji has a cute. Thank you. I'll probably go ahead and post the stories. You're making me blush. I'll go ahead and post the stories somewhere. Probably at least on the Discord server, the personal one, and then if there's enough traction about it, I'll go ahead and post it like maybe a more public Discord server, perhaps. I only have a public Discord server right now. I'm kind of a small streamer, small streamer vibes. But yeah, I have a few different machines. Like, oh my god, how did some of you? How did so many people join? Uh, okay. Hello, welcome to the typewriter stream. Um, great. Now I don't know what to say now because I like now there's more people and I didn't expect that. Hi. Please don't please don't be scary. I would like to be not scared. um, but yeah, thank you for following. Shut up, be you. Fine, I am gonna be myself. um, but yeah, these are just machines that are honestly not that long ago that they were being used. Considering like you literally ask your parents and they will have used them to work on their college essays and stuff. Um, and they're honestly people kind of just once the iPhones came out and all the computers, people kind of just forgot about them. But it wasn't too long ago that we were using them, and at least for myself, and currently right now because I am not able to find the files, I like to have my stories in a physical form that I store And a typewriter binder. So, so I have a little typewriter binder, little guy. Yeah, honestly, if you're ever curious, just like look up on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or like some sort of secondhand store, like secondhand website store thing, right? And there's a lot of people selling them just because you know, they have no use for them. Uh, honestly, if you were around, I'd be willing to just like drive over and like share with you, but I don't know. I have no idea where you are. Um, but yeah, I guess this will be kind of like my hopefully more weekly streams. Just it'll just be me typewriting stories and just talking about them. I feel like our world's going really fast nowadays, and we don't really take enough time to appreciate um the time like that came before us, the traditions of that time, and just what those times had in technology. Yeah. Okay, I'm going off a little bit of a random tangent here, but uh, I think a lot of us could benefit if we used a little less social media. Um, and that was kind of my main issue when I was writing, is that I always wanted to pull up YouTube or something and start like doing videos when I'm supposed to be writing. So that's why I got a typewriter. It is distraction-free writing, and you can't like pull up YouTube. Well, if you manage to pull up YouTube on a typewriter, I'd be surprised. But yeah, just being able to have something you can focus in on is really helpful. Just having something more in the physical realm rather than a virtual realm, I guess. Which is ironic, so considering I'm a yeah. Okay, well the YouTube I had to pull up for for tutorial. Okay, I mean like when I'm writing and then like suddenly decide I got bored of writing and then I switch topics, right? Like distractions. Music itself is fine, but um, you get what I mean. And also, I'm also aware that I'm an orange talking cat, but you know, I guess like value the physical things in life a bit more. Like everyone's always pursuing the likes and like the hearts and the followers and subscribers on social media and everything else, but like honestly, value the things around you as well. Like sure, you could always like go and FaceTime your parents, but like or call them, but like sometimes like a visit back to home is also like would help. Yeah, good on you. Good on you, good on you, Ninja. That's you aren't missing too much, honestly. uh the last thing I want to go is like go onto Twitter and just see like the absolute yeah. You want more time? Well, yeah. I mean, you are busy though, Tyler. Like you have a lot of stuff that you're working on yourself, so I don't think anyone can blame you for that. Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, sometimes if you see like a social media campaign like towards like advocating for like civil rights or like raising awareness, like sometimes that stuff is good. But a lot of the times we ignore that and we just see like people yelling at each other like their political beliefs and like eh, people on the internet like with that veil of anonymity, right? They're able to say whatever they want without consequences. I mean, except for getting ratioed. I guess that's a consequence, but like, there's no real life consequence towards speaking your unfiltered mind or maybe being someone else that you typically you like you wouldn't say to a normal person if you met them, right? Um, as with all technology, right? There's its upsides and its downsides, but I feel like maybe we're going too fast and we have to sort of see perhaps maybe look at the past for answers to our future. Yeah, so basically that's your history lesson with the orange cat. Welcome. Wow, I did not expect to go into this rabbit hole because that is my rabbit hole, I guess. Yeah, you gotta go now? Alright, but thanks so much for the flower, sad boy Slump. I hope you have a nice day. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry everybody else, but it's also getting late for me as well. I'll try to do more streams on the weekends. Bye chat! Uh, bye Slump. I'll try to do more streams on the weekends, probably around this time, probably late evening-ish, just when I have some time to just sort of gather my thoughts and just type right. and I'd be happy to share the stories that I write with you a lot more. um, it's my first time honestly doing a stream with like a bit more of a clean setup, despite my keyboard being all the way out of camera over here. That has all my expressions and stuff. But yeah, it's been really nice for you guys to hang out with me. I'll I'll try to find a place that I can post my stories so you guys can actually read it. Might be on my DeviantArt. Hopefully I can stream next week, and then I'll just link to my socials, I guess. Watch my socials. I'll probably post it on Twitter or something. Check out my social media. Oh my god, this is not the best plugin. Uh, yeah, check out my social media, I guess. Because I don't, my streaming schedule is still very inconsistent, and I'm gonna do better to do that, to fix that. Yeah, it is now 11:40 p.m. and I'll probably post the story so far up onto my Twitter and just sort of like continue sharing with that. And I guess I will see you all next time. Please take care. Please get some rest. Those of you guys who are watching YouTube at like 2 or 3 in the morning, I know who you are. I'm also one of them. Uh, please take the conversation that we just had to heart a bit more. Yeah, bye bye. And yeah, just take care of yourself. Get rest. Drink water. And yeah, have a nice one. Bye. Or like, okay, bye. Have a nice night. Take care.